So one of the greatest kept secrets in digital marketing is Google's fantastic research portal called Think Insights. If in your local country, if you Google Think Insights, you will find a version of this particular website for each individual country. But if you actually use the URL that you can see at the top of the screen here, which is think-insights.appspot.com, it actually takes you to the US part of the Think Insights site from Google and takes you straight through to the research tools. It's quite useful because not all of these research tools are available in every country, but if you go to thinkinsights.appspot.com, then you can access them in any country for any language and in any country. So I'll demonstrate that with a couple of examples. So as you go to the top of the page here, you can see Google's 4I process, insights, which are all of the research tools which are about understanding consumers and their behavior better. Idea are all of the tools that will help you with your creativity. Implementation, lots of tools here that will help with media planning online. And impact, lots of measurement tools. Now, some of these tools, like for example, Google Analytics, Google Trends, you'll be quite familiar with, and you can access those outside of this particular portal. But if you want a complete set of all the tools, then think-insights.appspot.com is the best place to go to find all of them in one place. I'm actually today just going to take you through the two probably most commonly used tools on here, which is Consumer Barometer and Google Trends. And I'll demonstrate to you how you can actually get data for plenty of different countries for each one. So if I start off with Consumer Barometer, when I click on Consumer Barometer, it takes you through to this particular site, and you just select at the top here, Graph Builder, select your country, and it immediately takes you through to this individual page. So on the left-hand side here, you can see a whole group of different questions and themes around consumers' internet usage, their use of mobile phones, how they shop online, and their viewing of television and other channels. And on the right-hand column next to it are a whole load of filters, countries, demographics, etc., etc. And I'll show you how you use some of these later on. The data is actually from a piece of claimed research. So Google does a survey once a year in lots of different countries. And if I go into the filters for country, you'll see here how actually it covers probably about 40 countries all over the world. And you can select any country. So if I want to add Austria into my list, just by clicking on it, you'll see on the right-hand side here now this data is available for Austria, Spain, and United Kingdom that I set up before. So it's available for lots of different countries. If I scroll down to the very bottom of the page, I can see the sample size. This is based on 7,424 respondents. There's about 10,000 people per country in total at a survey, different amounts per country, but broadly that sort of number. But obviously not every question is answered by every consumer. So I've just happened to select, in this case, one of the questions around device usage. So I went onto this left-hand menu, selected device usage, which is all about mobile phones, and then clicked on the third one down, smartphone functions used. So what I see here on the right-hand side is information about people in Austria, Spain, and United Kingdom, and all the different things that they do on their mobile phones. So in red, we see what percentage of them look at maps and travel information. The UK does that more than the other countries, maybe because our travel is more of an issue in the UK. The Austrians are very keen on checking news, checking weather. Actually, that's contrary to what you would expect in terms of the national stereotypes. The Brits are actually least likely to do that. Maybe that's because they're talking about weather all of the time. Listening to music, you'll see the Spanish have a slightly higher tendency. The Austrians more likely to manage their diary and appointments. Shopping's similar for each group. Spanish more likely to play games. Reading books, fairly similar. Setting alarm clocks, Austria more likely to do that, and the Brits less likely to do so. Taking photographs and videos, Spain higher. Telling the time, Brits less likely to do that. And then we have our tracking health here as well. So you can see how almost instantaneously it's comparing countries to that particular question. What I love about this is you can add in whatever filters you want to for any question. So I'm just going to build on this question now by adding in some other demographics. So let's, for example, look at the difference between young people and older people. And you'll notice now that for each of the different categories here for playing games in red, you can now see that it's got young Austrians, older Austrians, young Spanish, older Spanish, younger Brits and older Brits. So it's immediately breaking down the data as much as you want to. And I can keep on going. What about if I only look at females, for example? Now I'm only looking at young females who are under 25, older females who are under 25, and you'll see that it's just keep on recalculating all the way through. And then obviously the more filters you add in, the more interesting the data starts to become. But obviously your sample size obviously gets smaller as well. And if you look at the bottom, we'll see we're now based on your 1,300 people, because I'm only looking at the females of a certain age. But we're still statistically significant, and I know that because it's given me data. If I add in another one, now let's look at low income levels. I'll probably, there we go, I've managed to bust the tool here. You'll see it says base too small. So what it's doing is it's calculating the statistical significance of all of the answers, and if it doesn't think the sample size is large enough, in this case we're now down to 282 people, and it's not statistically significant, it won't provide an answer for you. So it's doing all of that for you in the background, which basically means you can trust it. Now I've just put in a random question there. You can see on the left hand side here there are probably 50 or 60 different questions related to different topics that you can go and have a look at. So Consumer Barometer is great for just getting a quick number, a quick bit of desk research to answer a question for you. So another tool which I thought I'd also show you in the media planning tools is Google Trends. And Google Trends is probably the most commonly used tool of all, and you can access Google Trends outside of this portal by just Googling Google Trends. When you come to the homepage of Google Trends, it tells you the most searched for thing in any region at any time. So you can, if you look at the top here, there's a drop down menu and you'll see there's all sorts of different countries listed on here. Again, 50, 60 countries listed, down to some fairly small countries. You can see Vietnam, for example, is the last one. And if I just hit refresh on my screen, it should change. So this is actually showing me what the most searched for thing is in the UK right at this precise moment in time. So we can see that at the moment it's the French Open tennis is going on. So Nadal is playing Federer and lots of people are searching for it. It's the Cricket World Cup in England at the moment. So Pakistan, Sri Lankan cricket team, they're supposed to be playing today. It's actually raining. So they're not playing at the moment, but there are lots of people talking about it and searching for it. We've got some football news with Coventry City moving into Birmingham Stadium, some French Open tennis news again here. We've even got the M1 motorway in Sheffield, where you can see it's closed northbound and lots of people are trying to work out why. So you can see kind of what people are searching for at any one time. You'll see how topical most searches are and actually how sport related we are in the UK. You can actually break this down by category. So I look at the most common business topics. These are now the most searched for business topics in the UK right at this precise moment as well. And there's lots of other different subsets down here. I can see health, science and technology, etc. as well. So that's one way of using Google Trends, but probably the most useful thing is actually putting words into the search box here, like for example BP, and seeing how many people search for that. Now there's one I prepared for you earlier on, which is the number of people searching for the word BP from 2004 to the present day across the whole world. And you can see this huge spike, which if you highlight it, you'll see is around July 2010, which is actually caused, as you can probably guess, by the Gulf of Mexico incident that happened in July 2010. And you can see the impact that that incident had on the number of people globally searching for the phrase BP. It's never reached the same level as that again. I can even see which countries have the highest number of searches for the word BP compared to its population. You can see that Poland actually has the highest number of searches per unit of population. So well done to your Polish marketing team that are doing whatever they can in order to get people searching for that particular brand name. I can also see people who've searched for this, what else they've searched for, and you can see the number one most common thing they've also searched for is Deepwater Horizon oil spill, which backs up exactly what I was going to say. Now I can actually change at the top here any of the parameters. So if I want to, I can, rather than looking worldwide, I can look at specific countries, and this goes down to very small specific countries. You can see here things like British Virgin Islands, for example. But if I just select a country like United States, for example, where there'll be plenty of data. I can see exactly the same thing, same peak in the United States, but I can also now break it down by state. So I can see that actually the highest number of searches per unit of population for the phrase BP is actually in Alaska. And if I hover over each of the individual states, I can see their relative scores out of 100 compared to an index of Alaska being 100 as the highest number of searches per unit of population. I can also change the date range as well. So that was 2004 to present day. If I wanted to, I could look at, for example, the last 30 days, and that will just tell me the number of searches over the last month. It should also look at the regions and change that underneath as well. If I want to, I can even look at the last hour and see the number of people who've searched over the last hour. So imagine, for example, you were appearing, your TV ad was live, for example, at that moment, or the chief executive of your organization was being interviewed on the radio. You might see a spike during the 30 seconds when your TV campaign is live at that particular time, for example. So you can get lots of data across lots of regions. And I said I can put in whatever country I like. If I was to pick Uruguay, for example, it'll probably give me a lot less data. So you can see here, it's a flat line with a couple of spikes because there's very few people searching in the last hour. Probably get better data in Uruguay if I was to put, say, for example, the last 5 years. And now I can see it's a bit more data, but I can see by the jagged nature of that diagram that there's still not that many searches for it because it's not a very flat line. It's a very jagged line. That kind of implies to me that it does it. And it doesn't tell you the exact number of searches, just the relative number of searches compared to the best ever month, which in Uruguay's case was back here in November 2014. So that's Google Trends. So between that and Consumer Barometer, you can get some quick, useful data to help you with your marketing straight away.